right, so today we're talking about you can get there from here. Um, let's see, here we go. So rewind, and you're going to be using the chat box again. But let's go on a little rewind. What do you remember from last week's class, which was called On the Job? Go ahead and use the chat box and tell me something you remember from last week. No right or wrong, no right or wrong. Don't worry about that. But if you were in class last week, the title was On the Job. Tell me something you remember. We talked about goal setting at work. We talked about you being a role model for your children. Tell me something you remember. And please keep your videos off because we're recording. All right, well, doesn't look like I'm getting any responses. So I kind of told you what we talked about. We talked about being a role model for your children. We talked about behaving in a way, even if you are not in the career of your dreams, to still behave as if you're already in that job. You don't want to burn any bridges, regardless of the kind of work you're doing now. Um, Even if it's not what you want to be doing, you want to do the best job you can possibly do because the people that you're working with now could potentially be references for your future goals. We also talked about how your children are watching, your children are listening. And so if you value family, then when you're at work, you need to show that you value family because your kids are watching. If you value money, then you need to show that you value money and your kids are watching. Okay? All right. So you had homework 2 weeks in a row where there was a website called My Next Move, and there was a questionnaire called the ONET Profiler. So use the Zoom feature. There's a reaction button. There's a raise hand button. Go ahead and do the reaction button or raise your hand button if you did your homework. If you did the ONET Profiler over the last 2 weeks. Let me see if there are any hands raised or any reactions happening. Did anybody do their little ONET Profiler? Hold on, I'm looking through. I know last week we had one student that did their ONET profile. All right, guys. Well, today we're talking about it. So if you didn't do it, you might get a little lost. Okay, all right. Well, we got an answer in here. Somebody was honest and said they didn't do it. That's all right. But we're going to be talking about it today. So maybe today's discussion will be that little push you need to actually do the test. It's really, really quick. It takes less than 20 minutes, and you can do it on your smartphone. All right. So, excuse me. My goodness. All right, so the interest profiler, basically it's in the name, interest profiler. It's basically looking at what your interests are and how it relates to work, okay? So the interest profiler has 6 different interest categories. And we're actually going to go over each one and we'll see if you can figure out which category is mine. All right, so the realistic category, if you take the test and it says that you fall under the realistic category, it basically means that you connect with occupations that frequently involve work activities that include practical hands-on problem solutions. So people that fall under the realistic umbrella usually like working kind of outside with plants or animals, using tools. So maybe a barber, maybe somebody that's a mason and they're a bricklayer, a truck driver. It says many of the occupations require working outside and do not involve a lot of paperwork or working closely with others. Truck drivers work alone, right? Barbers, well, they work alone, but they don't because they're in a shop you know, working with other people. But if they're a business owner, it could just be them and the client. So that's an example of a realistic work interest. And while you're listening to this this lesson, start thinking like, do you fall in that category? Do you know somebody that does fall in that category? All right, so the next category is investigative. When I was a kid, when I was still learning how to like read and figure out syllables and all that, somebody pronounced it as investigative. And so for years, I said investigative. Um, Now, I haven't been on Google Translate or anything, so maybe it's a north-south thing, but I say investigative, okay? So investigative occupations, you can actually kind of tell from the word investigative. These occupations frequently involved working with ideas and require an extensive amount of thinking. Think, investigative, investigate. Somebody that's an investigator is looking and trying to figure things out. They probably like puzzles, wouldn't you say? So it says these occupations can involve searching for facts and figuring out problems mentally. So think about an engineer, a biologist, a web developer, a detective, you know, like with the police force, a detective is the one going out and trying to figure things out. One of my favorite authors when I was younger in high school was James Patterson. He did the Along Came the Spider. Oh my goodness, I am blanking on this man's name, this character's name. But first it was Morgan Freeman, Alex. First it was Morgan Freeman, and then it became Tyler Perry. Neither one. Look, James Patterson said that Alex looked like Muhammad Ali. So neither Tyler Perry nor Morgan Freeman looked like Muhammad Ali. But that's neither here nor there. Alex was like a detective. He was always figuring out cases. So investigative are people that like to think and solve puzzles. Does anybody, you want to raise your hand or use the chat box? Does anybody feel like they are realistic or investigative? You can use the chat box or you can use one of the reactions. No, no one believes that they're realistic or investigative. All right, well, we've got 4 more. We'll see. But I'm going to need to see some hands, guys, eventually, okay? That's how you get your diapers. All right, so let's see the third one. The third one is artistic. Okay, so we've got one student that raised their hand for realistic or investigative. Our next one is artistic. Once again, it's in the title what type of occupation artistic is. Okay, I've got a couple of people saying that they're both realistic and investigative. Okay. Okay, when I took the test, I was more investigative than realistic. Okay, great, thank you. So artistic occupations, once again, it's in the name. They're artsy. They're art people. They frequently it frequently involves working with forms, designs, patterns. They often require self-expression, and the work can be done without following a clear set of rules. Have you ever had like a really artsy friend and like fashion goes out the window? They wear plaids and stripes and polka dots all together, and they'll wear like red and purple and pink, and you're just like, that doesn't go together, but it looks really good on you. Those are the artsy people. Of course, you can absolutely take the test. I've got a comment in here. This is my first class. Absolutely. When I send out the email on Friday about class diapers, I'll put the link in there. I'll put the link in there again, but absolutely don't even worry about whether or not you took it for today. You can absolutely take it again. So artsy occupations could be an art director, a dancer, a video game designer. It's those people that like to think outside the box and create. Let's see. Let's look at number 4. Oh, wait, I forgot to ask. Does anybody believe that they are artistic? Do they think that you would follow fall under the artistic umbrella. When you take the test, you can put it in the chat box, or you can raise your hand or do a reaction. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I see. Y'all were just waiting for me to get to the ones that pertain to you. I get it. All right. So let's see number 4. Number 4, social occupations. Social occupations frequently involve working with, communicating with, and teaching people. These occupations often involve helping or providing a service to others. Which one do you guys think I fall under? I wonder. I am social all day, guys. And the crazy thing is I'm an introvert. People make me uncomfortable. But on the other hand, I love educating and I love helping. So yeah, I'm a weirdo, but here I am. I'm in the social umbrella. Anybody else under the social umbrella? Anybody into nursing or volunteering or social work? Yep, I got some hands going up. Yep, got some hands going up. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so like I said before, clergy, nurse, massage therapist, these are all people that are in a social occupation because they love giving. All right, yes, I love it. Okay, so let's see number 5. Oh, we've got someone on here that says mixture of artistic and social. Someone says, I am 100% social. High five to you. You know, we're the social bunch. We're the loving and nurturing and giving bunch. All right, so let's see what's going on with number 5. All right, number 5, enterprising. These occupations frequently involve starting up and carrying out projects. These occupations can involve leading people and making many decisions. Sometimes they require risk-taking and often deal with business. Think about your entrepreneurs. Think about a judge. It says making decisions. A judge makes a lot of decisions. Think about a sales rep, a real estate appraiser. So the real estate appraiser is the person that goes in and says, okay, your roof looks good, or, oh, this plumbing is old, or, oh, your foundation is cracking, or, you know, and they're appraising what's going on with the house. So they're making decisions. So anybody out there enterprising, anybody like starting up and carrying out projects, anybody like being a leader? We got a 100% me. Okay, 100% enterprising. So yeah, isn't it interesting hearing these different little areas? Because we're all unique as the human race. We are all unique, but it's so interesting that you can kind of lump us into categories. There is a spectrum. I'm social and I like helping others, but I also am uncomfortable with a lot of people. So there's a spectrum, but it's interesting that we can all be kind of lumped together into these different categories. It's really, really interesting to me, which is why my undergrad degree is in psychology. Let's see. I could see myself enterprising. Yep. And nobody is all one person. You could be a little sprinkle of this one, a little sprinkle of this one, and that's what makes you, you. All right, let's look at the 6th one. Conventional. That one, again, kind of tells you in the words. These frequently involve following a set of procedures and routines. These occupations can include working with data and details more than with ideas. Usually there's a line of authority to follow. So somebody that's in a conventional job could be, a data entry person, could be a chef, like a line cook, not one of the chefs that like create different dishes, but the chef that's just, willing and able to put out the exact same meal every single time, the exact same flavor profile. data entry, somebody doing data entry, or maybe a secretary. Conventional are just, like your worker bees. There's nothing wrong with being a worker bee. Not everybody can be a leader. So it's really interesting about these 6, right? Okay. Ooh, got a little comment. Looking at these gives me a different look at my interests. This is very helpful. I'm so glad to hear that. And once again, I'll give you guys the link so you can take this test and see where you fall. And the website is such a wealth of knowledge, because not only does it give you where your interests lie, it gives you a whole bunch of jobs based off of the experience you have or want to have, to figure out what would work for you. So it's really, really cool. So this part right here, job zones, is where I was just talking about how much experience or education you have. So you literally can say, you know what, I'm enterprising, but maybe I don't have a degree yet. I have a high school diploma. You can click in enterprising, and then you would do job zone 2 for high school diploma, and then it will spit out all these jobs that fall under that job zone level. It's a really cool tool. And like I said, I'll give you the information again. So job zones are the typical amount of education or experience that is needed for an occupation. So 1 would be some high school, maybe you didn't finish, or life happened and it got in the way. Job zone 2, high school diploma, possibly a GED equivalent. Job zone 3, vocational school and or an associate degree. Job zone 4, bachelor's degree. And job zone 5, master's degree or higher. So maybe a Juris Doctor, a doctor of law, maybe a medical doctor, maybe a PhD, but it's master's degree and further for job zone 5. All right, so, do I have my, hold on one second. Let me go grab the book. Oh, here it is, right here. I was like, where's my book? It's right here. So for my new students, 10-10-10 is where our summer semester title comes from. This woman right here, her name is Susie Welch, and she's the one that created the mnemonic device of 10-10-10. So let me grab, I'm supposed to read another story or 2. I'll probably just read 1 story. We're about 20 minutes in. I'll probably just read 1 story. So this one is called The Entrepreneur's Ally. If you happen to just have the book or you want to look it up, it is on page 113 of 10-10-10 by Susie Welch. And you do not have to buy this book. It is not a requirement. I have the book so that I can read bits and pieces to you. So please do not feel like you need to buy this book, because you don't. All right, so story time. Yay! The Entrepreneur's Ally. For people who are self-employed, 10-10-10 can be especially valuable. It's a way to bounce around ideas when you have few or no colleagues to bounce them off. That's no small matter when you consider the statistics. Companies with fewer than 20 employees number close to 21 million in the United States. And this number has changed. This book is about 10 years old. And while precise figures are difficult to obtain, perhaps as many as 15 million businesses have fewer than 5 people employed. And even in these times of economic disruption, an estimated 2,500 individuals go into business for themselves every day. The entrepreneur is probably enterprising when you think about the 6 different categories. As unemployment rises, we can only expect that the rate will increase. Fortunately, the government provides some low-cost support services to small business owners, and entrepreneur groups exist all over the country. But 10-10-10 can also help individuals get their companies up and running, providing a quick and easily accessible process to examine tough choices and test the gut calls that so many entrepreneurs tend to rely on. Joan began her career as a teacher. But after a surprisingly fulfilling stint as her elementary school's guidance counselor, she decided to go back to school herself to obtain a degree in social work. A few years later, bolstered by the loan from her older sister, she decided to make the leap into the world of the self-employed. She hung her shingle as a family therapist and drew her earliest clients from among friends, former colleagues, and the families of her old students. Soon, however, Joan came to realize that she needed a more steady flow of income if she was going to be able to pay for her own health insurance, cover the mortgage, and continue to maintain her other household expenses. She spent weeks trying to set up appointments with local doctors and insurance providers, hoping that they would refer patients her way. Some did, but not nearly as much as she needed. In a moment of exasperation, Joan called Mary Louise, the principal of her old school and a good friend. I knew going out on my own wasn't going to be easy, she lamented, but I may not even survive my first year. Then started 3 businesses before one finally stuck, Mary Louise replied, referring to her husband, who had recently turned his first profit with an eBay storefront drop ship site. You just have to keep trying things. I mean, try everything, Joan. Try something with the internet. That's the future. Guys, is that telling you how old this is? Okay. The internet is the future. We are in the future, y'all. Joan balked. In fact, she had been considering launching a small website for herself, but her instinct had been to spend just enough to list her name and contact information. I didn't have a lot of money to spare, Joan told me of her early thinking, and I just asked myself, come on, who finds a shrink online? We all know the answer to that question. But Mary Louise's comment prompted Joan to re-examine her assumptions through 10-10-10, which she already used frequently in her personal life. Her question, she decided, was financial. How much money, she wanted to know, should I put into marketing myself online? To conduct a thoughtful 10-10-10, Joan knew that her first order of business was to get some hard data. That didn't take long. A brief online search revealed that therapists of all disciplines were promoting themselves on the web, not only by listing details about their training and approach, but also with blog entries from patients, video clips, photos, and podcasts. And when Joan looked at message boards and forums, she learned that potential clients were using such websites in the therapist selection process and coming to expect them. I'm very risk averse, Joan observed when we spoke not long ago, but now that I'm a solo act, I have to get used to risk. I have to find ways to manage it. 10-10-10 showed me that it was riskier from a business point of view not to spend money. Ultimately, Joan invested $5,000 to design her website, even taking a course to learn how to manage it herself. The new endeavor proved so enjoyable to Joan and fruitful for her business that now, 2 years later, she's thinking about expanding her digital presence with a subscription-based email newsletter to reach all the new clients the site has brought in. So there's more to the story, but you get the gist, okay? 10-10-10, once again, it's a mnemonic device of trying to decide how will this decision affect me in 10 minutes, in 10 weeks, or 10 months, and 10 years. So this woman used 10-10-10 to determine that, you know what? If I spend this $5,000 now, it will help me with my revenue in the future. And as we heard from the story, it absolutely helped. All right, so can y'all hear me? Somebody wrote in the comments that they can't hear anything. Can y'all hear me? Do a raise your hand or a reaction. Okay, all right, okay. Thank y'all. So the person that can't hear anything, maybe check your volume. I'm not really sure what's going on, but maybe check your volume, okay? All right, so it's time for practice. So for my new students, I have suggested that you get a little notebook that you can use for every class that you attend. This information is for you, and whatever you do with it is what you so choose. So if you have some an envelope from some mail and you want to write on that, that's fine. If you plan on looking back at what you learned and you want to use a notebook, that's fine. If you want to do it in your head, that's fine. Once again, you get out of this curriculum what you put into it, okay? So let's do some practice. All right, so what career would you like to have? Write down 1 or 2 choices on paper. What career would you like to have? Okay, so now that you have an idea about what you would like to do, how are you going to get there? We talked about a couple of weeks back, we talked about SMART goal setting. SMART goal setting uses the acronym SMART. S stands for specific. You want to be specific in what your goals are. So you just wrote down, my career is to become ... So that's specific. The M in SMART stands for measurable. Okay, you want to be in this career. How soon do you want to be in this career? In the next 5 years, next 10 years, next 6 months? The A, when you're SMART goal setting, the A stands for attainable. If you are not good at science and math, then you probably should not put that you want to be a rocket scientist, because they use a lot of science and math. So attainable just means it's something that you can logistically reach, okay? So we got S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, realistic. So let's switch goals. Let's say your goal, outside of what career do you want, but let's say your goal is to lose weight. It is not realistic to lose 100 pounds in 1 month, okay? So you want your goals to be realistic. Maybe it's realistic to lose 5 to 10 pounds in 1 month, but not 100, okay? And then T, once again, T is time. So maybe I want to lose 100 pounds in 2 years. Maybe I want to lose 20 pounds in 6 months, okay? So yes, somebody wanted to know if I can write down SMART goals. I'll send that in the email as well. I'll send the last two weeks of resource information. I'll send that on Friday. So it'll have SMART goal setting, and it'll also have the ONET profile website. So what career would you like to have? Write down 1 or 2 choices on paper. That should be on your paper now. So how are you going to get there? So let's do 10, 10, 10. All right, so step 1. Step 1 is what career do you want to have, okay? Step 2, ask yourself, how will you feel about the answer in 10 months, 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years, or 10 minutes, 10 weeks, 10 years? So let's say you want to be a nurse, okay? In 10 minutes or short term, it doesn't have to be exact. So at some point today, at some point during this week, if you want to be a nurse, what do you need to do? You need to research how to become a nurse. You need to start looking at different schools, different programs, and you need to start researching how to pay for it, right? In 10 weeks or 10 months, at that point, you should have applied to programs or schools. And in 10 weeks, 10 months, you should probably be starting the program, right? So in 10 years, you should be a nurse, right? In 10 years, you might be ready for your next career. So 10, 10, 10 is basically you goal setting and writing it down so you can figure out where you're trying to go. So let's say you wrote down 2 careers. So you wrote down nursing. Maybe for the other career, you wrote down being a hairstylist, okay? So in 10 minutes from now, the rest of the day, the rest of the week, you need to be researching, well, what do I have to do to become a hairstylist? What tests do I have to take? Do I have to go to school? Do I have to take a program? Can I just take a national test to be done with it? Like, you have to research that, right? In 10 weeks or 10 months, once again, you should be in your program at that point. Whatever program you picked out, whatever program you researched, or maybe you're taking your test in 10 weeks or 10 months. In 10 years, again, you should be a hairstylist at this point, and maybe considering owning your own business, or maybe considering becoming a teacher. So 10-10-10 is just helping you to take a moment and look at what you need to do over the span of this time. If you 10-10-10 and it has nothing to do with career, maybe you're 10-10-10ing, should I move? Should I move to New York? In the next 10 minutes, you're going to be like, should I move to New York? Why would I move to New York? What are the pros and cons to New York? Okay. Do I have a job? Do I have family? Do I have childcare? You want to start thinking about that in the short term. Midterm, okay, I've got a job, I've got a place to stay. What am I going to do about a social life? Who's my new doctor? Who's my new dentist? That's what you're going to start doing in 10 weeks to 10 months, as well as, maybe you're getting your home together, because at that point, maybe you've already moved. In 10 years, maybe you're like, okay, New York was wonderful. Where do I want to go next? Or New York is wonderful. I want to buy a house. So you're just looking at your life in little digestible pieces to figure out what your next step is. Okay. All right. So it says continue to research and make a plan for your dream job. If you want, you can do a vision board, a dream board. You can start writing affirmations. You can always use a dry erase marker. I don't have any dry erase markers, but you can always use like a dry erase marker and write on your mirror, your bedroom mirror, your bathroom mirror, wherever you're going to see it, saying, you can do this, or focus on your future, or focus on your goals, whatever affirmation you need that's going to make you focused on your goals every day. Or maybe you write down your children's names, and that's the focus on your goals. Or maybe you write down your future children's name. Whatever it is that's going to help you to stay on the straight and narrow to reach your goals, it's what you want to write down in your affirmations. No, you do not have to take a picture of your homework. So we're classes and you'll get homework, but it's not like a traditional school setting. This is all for you. So if you don't do your homework, it doesn't hurt me. You just don't have the information. So you don't have to take a picture. You don't have to send it to me. This is for your information. Okay. So number two, I would like you to start thinking about your artistic side. Not everybody's artistic, and that's perfectly fine. But if you are artistic, maybe you're a poet, maybe you're a writer, maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to sing. If there is something that you do and you are willing to share it with me and your classmates and possibly our PAC staff and volunteers and donors, then I want you to start thinking about it. It doesn't have to be something new. It could be something you've written before. It can be something you've cooked before. It does not have to be new. But this is for about 2 weeks in the future. So start thinking about it. Once again, this is not something you have to participate in, but I want you to start thinking about, you know what, I wrote this poem back in high school that I want to share, or I make the best lemon honey cookies and I want to share the recipe, or I drew this amazing painting and it is my pride and joy and I want to share that. I want you guys to start thinking about it. It says we will discuss further in 2 weeks, so you've got a little bit of time, but just start thinking about what you would like to share and if you would like to share. Once again, it's not a requirement, but if you want to share, start thinking about it and start writing it down. You're going to be emailing it to me eventually. So write down that recipe, write down that poem, send me a picture of your art. Like I said, we'll discuss it in 2 weeks. And before we end, because I believe that's our last slide. Yeah. So before we end, for anybody that got on a little bit late after we started, I need your email, I need your attendance. So use the chat box, first name, last name, email address. That goes in the chat box. I do not write down attendance while we're chatting. So if it's not in the chat box, then I don't know you were here. What happens is later on in the week, I will pull up the transcript of the chat box, and I literally, oh, okay, Jane Doe was here. Jane Doe email address. Oh, John Doe, John Doe. So I need your attendance in the chat box. On Fridays, I will send an email and say, hey, thank you for participating in class during this week. Please respond to me with what diaper size you want and which clinic you want to pick it up. And then I will give you the instructions for pickup the following week. I send the email on Fridays. You have the entire weekend to respond. And then on Mondays, I send your diaper request to the clinics. So if you don't respond over the weekend and you don't respond to me till Wednesday or Thursday of next week, then your diaper request goes in the following week, okay? I'm only sending one email to you guys, and I'm only sending one email to the clinics for diaper bag creations. So once again, I send that email on Friday. On Monday and Thursday, I send a reminder email about class and what we're talking about. And when we have Mommy Tribe, I send an email about that on Monday and Thursday, just saying reminder. For those that are new, Mommy Tribe is once a month. We just had it this past Saturday. It's the first Saturday of the month. Mommy Tribe is a chance for you guys to get together and just talk about what life is like as a mommy, talk about your struggles and your wins. It's a beautiful, beautiful space for you guys. And that is led by a woman named Deshelle. She's wonderful, very nurturing, very loving. And like I said, that's the first Saturday of every month. Okay, look. What if our baby isn't born yet? Oh, no, that's not a problem. No, we're here for you while you're pregnant, after you're pregnant. As far as diapers are concerned, you can get whatever size diaper you want. So if you already know, oh, my friends or family are going to get me newborn diapers, then when you respond to me, you can say you want size 3 diapers or size 6 diapers. Well, let me take back 6, because we very rarely get donated size 6 diapers. So, but yeah, you can absolutely start earning diapers and wipes even if baby is not here. All right, so looks like I'm gonna give you guys like another 30 seconds. First name, last name, email address in the chat box. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. I don't know how you found me, but I'm so grateful that you guys are here. For my new students, I love y'all. Like, no joke, I love y'all. Even if we've never met, I love you. I want you to win. I want you to be able to provide for your family. And PAC is here to help you with that. Oh, yay. I'm grateful to be a part of this, my first child. And oh, yay. No, if you got disconnected, but you already put your first name, last name in the chat box, that stays in the chat box once it's in. So even if you got kicked out and came back in, you're still in the chat box. All right. So looks like all the attendance is in. If you don't get an email from me on Friday, it means you didn't put your attendance in, okay? Don't come at me. Miss Courtney, you didn't send me my email. That's me in the chat box. All right, so, okay. We have a question about baby bugs. So currently, our boutique is closed. Due to COVID, our boutique has been closed since March. But, however, we are working on getting a brand new baby bug system, and we're working to get the boutique open in time for fall classes. So if you already have boutique bucks, pause on that. You're not earning any right now, but pause on what you already have. And for new students who are like, what are baby bucks? We'll talk about that in the fall when we get our new system up and running. Right now, boutique bucks are a moot point, but that's where the email comes in for diapers and wipes. So, all right, looks like, oh, the love is very much strong. Thank you, guys. All right, so it looks like that is it. Doesn't look like there's any more questions. I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful you continue to come back, and I'm grateful for those that just showed up for the first time today. I'm Courtney. I'm the Director of Education here. Once again, I love you guys. You're worthy. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.